In the second year of my relationship with the Honorable Smith, a socialite from the California district, I remained hidden from the public eye. That night, during a gala, I sang on stage, the spotlight bathing me in gold. Smith sat in the VIP box, surrounded by admirers. His mother's voice echoed in my mind. She's just a singer. Smith should know better. When rumors swirled about his engagement to a blue-blooded heiress, someone asked him outright, "What about the singer?" Smith smirked, leaning back casually. "One's in the harbor, the other's on the mainland. I can afford both." Awards night was meant to be a crowning moment, but I had plans of my own. As I held the Best Actress trophy, the host smiled and asked, "What's next for you, Rhiannon?" I placed a hand on my slightly raised belly, a serene smile gracing my lips. "I'll be taking a break. I'm in the early stages of pregnancy, and my husband prefers I step back for now." The crowd gasped. Cameras turned towards Smith, seated in the front row. For the first time, his mask slipped. His eyes widened, and he stood abruptly, his composure shattering. Smith sat rigid in the VIP section, his gaze cold and distant. I took the stage, dressed in a dazzling but revealing gown, performing an old, sultry hit. My voice carried through the hall, the words filled with irony only I understood. As the final note faded, applause erupted. Smith's clapping was polite, almost mechanical. Then, without a glance my way, he stood, signaling his entourage to follow. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message. "Waiting for you in the car." I stared at the screen, my fingers trembling slightly. It was Smith's birthday. I'd taken leave from the drama crew and traveled to Geezerland to surprise him. The suite door was slightly ajar, laughter spilling into the hallway. "Smith, so it's true? You're getting engaged to Jessica's second daughter?" A voice replied with mock sympathy. "Even Smith can't escape a political marriage." "But what about Rhiannon?" someone asked, a hint of amusement in their tone. Smith's laughter came next, casual, careless. "Why act like this is a dilemma? You have a plan?" He lit a cigarette, the sound of the lighter sharp in the silence. "One in Westbury, one in mainland. Why not both?" The laughter resumed, louder this time. I stood frozen, the heat of the summer night suddenly unbearable. My chest felt tight, my breathing shallow. Without thinking, I pushed the door open. The laughter died instantly. Eyes turned to me, startled and wary. Smith remained seated, his cigarette poised between his fingers. "Rhiannon," he said, his tone measured, "you're early." "I am," I said, stepping inside. My voice was steady, but my fists clenched. "Should I have waited outside, or perhaps in Westbury?" The room fell into a thick, suffocating silence. Smith stubbed out his cigarette, rising slowly. "This isn't the time." "No, Smith." My voice cut through his. "It's exactly the time." Smith's fingers, casually holding a cigarette, stilled for a moment. I dropped the gift box on the floor with a loud thud, turning to leave. "Rhiannon." Smith's voice followed me, his tone calm but firm. I didn't want to hear him anymore. I briskly walked toward the elevator, trying to escape. But just as the doors slid open, he grabbed my wrist. "Let go of me," I hissed, trying to shake him off. Smith's grip tightened. "Rhiannon, listen to me. Don't make a scene." I stopped, my voice cold. "Let's break up." His expression faltered. "What did you say?" "I said, let's break up, Smith." Finally, I raised my head, meeting his gaze. The words had been festering ever since I overheard his mother's casual dismissal of me. Now, I knew it was truly over. Smith's face softened, his voice gentle. "You know, I'm not interested in Miss Jessica at all." I crossed my arms, unamused. "You always said that, but your actions speak louder." He took a deep breath. "You've always wanted to work with Director Henry. Let me help you get the lead role." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, so now I'm a lover in exchange for a role?" I pushed him away, my voice sharp. "Happy engagement, Smith, and let's not meet again." His eyes darkened. "Are you sure you want to anger me?" I didn't answer. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the button, the doors closing without a second glance. End. After the breakup, my entire career in California came to a halt. Meanwhile, Smith began promoting Linnelli, a new actress, and all the resources that slipped through my fingers went straight into her hands. At a banquet, I watched Smith, his arm wrapped around the victorious-looking Linnelli. The sting was sharp, but then something shifted inside me. I felt calm. I put down my wine glass and started to leave, but Smith's voice stopped me. "Are you really leaving now?" I turned slowly, my eyes steady. "Miss Linnelli is young and beautiful. You have a good eye." Smith frowned, annoyance creeping into his voice. "Don't provoke me again, Rhiannon." I raised my chin. "I'm planning to leave to the mainland." He scoffed. "You think you can start over? Without me, no one in the industry will even look at you. ? You want to leave before your contract's up? Fine, Smith said with a twisted smile. The breach penalty is $30 million. Good luck. I was trapped in California City. At another banquet, my agent guided me through the crowd, offering wine to the right people. Linnelli stood nearby, flanked by her bodyguards, looking smug as she stood next to Director Henry. I saw her whisper something in Henry's ear, and immediately his gaze shifted toward me. Moments later, someone approached with a bottle of wine. "Miss Rhiannon, drink this, and the second female lead is yours." I stared at the bottle, then at Director Henry. Some biases didn't need to be explained. They could be erased with actions. I took the bottle and downed 3 glasses in quick succession. Suddenly, the room fell silent. I glanced toward the center of the crowd, where a tall man in a sharp black suit entered. His presence was undeniable. Beside him, a man who looked out of place in comparison, Smith, was following him with a look of deep respect. I froze. Linnelli appeared at my side, her voice low. "Do you know who this is?" I turned to see her smirking. "That's Taylor, Smith's youngest uncle," she said, her eyes gleaming. "The heir to Henry International, the man who controls half of Asia's financial world. He's untouchable." I couldn't help myself. I stared at Taylor, his serious expression striking and imposing. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked toward me. Time seemed to slow as we locked eyes for a brief but intense moment. My heart pounded, and I quickly looked away. The dizziness hit me, and before I could steady myself, nausea overwhelmed me. I stumbled toward the restroom, feeling the room spin around me. I barely made it to the sink before I vomited, the alcohol and emotions mixing into a swirl of nausea. Cleaning up, I stepped out, only to find an unexpected scene unfolding before me. Benny, the renowned triple-crowned Best Actress, stood with tears in her eyes, holding a business card awkwardly in midair. Taylor, however, was unbothered, coldly staring at her, showing no interest. He didn't even extend a hand to take the card. Benny's shoulders slumped as she turned to leave, tears streaming down her face. Taylor's gaze shifted, and suddenly, he looked at me. I wasn't sure why, but I found myself reaching into my pouch, pulling out my business card, and accidentally handing him the room card instead. "Mr. Taylor, I'm Rhiannon from Starlight Entertainment." His eyes slid from my face to the card in my hand, then back to me. His lips curled in amusement. Confused, I stared at the card in his hand. Horror washed over me. I had handed him the wrong card. Flustered, I tried to snatch it back, but Taylor had already grabbed it. With a faint smile still playing on his lips, he said, "Miss Rhiannon, I'll see you later." I stood frozen as he tucked the room key away and turned to leave. I couldn't just let it end like this. I rushed to follow him. "Mr. Taylor," but his secretary stopped me with a pleasant smile. "Miss Rhiannon, please follow me." I had to explain myself. Feeling the need to clear up the misunderstanding, I obediently followed his secretary into the elevator. The suite at the top of the Intercontinental Hotel was all Taylor's. As the alcohol's effects wore off, the door opened, and Taylor strolled in with his assistants in tow. They quickly began unloading luggage. My agent, Sister Lucy, pushed my suitcase inside, looking a little too meek for my liking. Sister Lucy? I blinked in surprise. She gave me a knowing look. Your luggage is here. I'm leaving now. Call me if you need anything. Lucy gave me a couple of pointed glances before she hurried out of the room. The assistants moved quickly and efficiently, leaving just Taylor and me alone. Embarrassed, I stood there, wishing the floor would swallow me up. Mr. Taylor, it was a misunderstanding earlier. Taylor, loosening his tie, sat back on the couch, a relaxed air about him. Misunderstanding? He tilted his head, fixing me with an amused look. So, Miss Rhiannon, why exactly did you hand me a room key? I turned crimson, stammering. I meant to give you my business card, but I picked up the wrong one by mistake. Taylor chuckled softly. And what exactly were you hoping to achieve by handing me a business card? I hesitated before answering. I was hoping to get to know you, Mr. Taylor. If you have any investments in movies or dramas, maybe you could consider me for a role. My voice trailed off as I spoke, my shoulders sagging in defeat. I was just another girl trying to get ahead by clinging to him. I'm sorry, I was presumptuous. I bowed my head, eyes lowering. I'll leave now. I didn't mean to disturb you. But just as I turned to leave, Taylor stopped me. Did I reject you? I froze. Mr. Taylor? He leaned forward, his voice low and surprisingly warm. I was a little surprised. So would you consider me? My breath caught in my throat. Can I be considered without the unspoken rules? Taylor smiled lazily. Unspoken rules aren't necessary. But I have another condition. I raised an eyebrow. What condition? I need a wife. His eyes held mine, intense and unwavering. His voice dropped to a tantalizing whisper. Miss Rhiannon, are you interested? I stood there, shocked. Lynelli had told me that Taylor was the heir, the untouchable high branch in Harbor City. A man like him didn't need a wife. Yet here he was, proposing to me. I swallowed hard, confusion rising. Mr. Taylor, I was once Smith's girlfriend. You must have heard about it. Taylor shifted slightly, his long arm resting casually on the sofa's armrest. He gave me a nonchalant look. I know. I blinked in disbelief. And you still want to propose this to me? I couldn't wrap my head around it. Smith's mother had never liked me, and Taylor was her brother. How could he even consider this? Is this really important? Taylor asked, his gaze unwavering. I felt a chill run down my spine. You're Smith's uncle, and Madden Smith has always disliked me. Taylor's eyes softened, but his voice was firm. Madam Smith is only an adopted daughter of the Taylor family, not my biological sister. He shrugged lightly. And as for whether she likes you or not, why does that matter in terms of you being my wife? I hesitated, still unsure. I'm just afraid it will cause you embarrassment. He chuckled softly. Miss Rhiannon, no one in Westbury would dare criticize my personal matters. I felt uneasy. But your incessant excuses tonight are making me feel somewhat embarrassed. Mr. Taylor, that's not what I mean. So you agree then? My heart skipped a beat. Can I think about it some more? Taylor glanced at his wristwatch, then stood up. You can stay here tonight, think it over, and let me know your decision first thing tomorrow. I was stunned. And where will you be tonight? I'll be here too. He gave me a wry smile at my wide-eyed reaction. Don't worry, Miss Rhiannon. Until you agree to become my wife, I'll adhere to gentlemanly etiquette. I had expected to spend the night awake, but after finishing my routine and lying down, I fell into a deep sleep. Maybe it was the alcohol, but I drifted into oblivion. No dreams, no thoughts. When I awoke the next morning, the conversation from last night still rang clearly in my mind. As I lay there, wondering what to say, my phone buzzed. I saw Smith's name flash on the screen. I hesitated, but answered. Where are you? His voice dripped with disdain. Do you need something, Mr. Smith? I heard from Jai. that you stopped my younger uncle in the hallway last night." He laughed cruelly. "Jingwei, even if you're desperate, you shouldn't just seek help from anyone." I could feel his sneer through the phone. "You can't even step inside our house? Do you really think the Taylor family would open their doors for you?" My grip tightened around the phone, my fingertips pale with anger. His words were like knives, cutting deep into me. "My dear, I know how hard things have been for you." His voice softened mockingly. "Pampering Linnelli was a mistake, but you should know you're the one who really matters to me." I closed my eyes, my heart racing. Marrying into a wealthy family isn't enough, but I promise you, after she has our child, she won't see me again. You're the only one for me." His words stung. "Smith." My voice broke. And in that moment, I knew it was truly over. "Let's end this, Smith. I don't want to tarnish the beauty of our love. And please don't make me regret having once loved such a wretched and despicable man." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. "Rhiannon, I have never groveled to any woman like this before. Why can't you understand my predicament? This is your last chance, Rhiannon." "I've made my decision, Smith." "Rhiannon, think carefully. If you regret this later and want to turn back, it will be impossible." "I've made up my mind." "All right." Smith didn't say another word, and the line went dead. By the time I changed and was ready, it was nearly 9 o'clock. I found the living room empty. The door to Taylor's study was slightly ajar, muffled voices filtering out. I didn't disturb him, heading to the dining room instead. By the time I finished breakfast, Taylor emerged. He was dressed in a smoke gray shirt and black trousers. He hadn't put on a tie, and the top 2 buttons of his shirt were undone, giving him an almost effortless charm. "Good morning, Mr. Taylor." I stood up and greeted him. "Good morning, Miss Rhiannon." Taylor gestured to the couch. "Sit, let's talk." I sat down, feeling more reserved than usual. "Relax." Taylor's eyes softened. "I won't make this difficult for you." "Mr. Taylor, I have a few questions." "Go ahead. If I agree to marry you, can we keep the news private for now?" Taylor raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "I want to keep working. I love acting and singing. If I marry, I don't want people to treat me differently. Or worse, assume I'm getting favors just because I'm Mrs. Taylor." He nodded slowly. "I understand. You want to prove yourself on your own merit." "Yes, that's not ridiculous at all, Miss Rhiannon. It's the reason I chose you." "So you agree?" "Absolutely." "Mr. Taylor." I was shocked. I had expected him to be more traditional, but he was supporting my career choice without hesitation. "Do you have any other questions?" I hesitated before asking. "You said you needed a wife. I won't pry into your reasons, but I know this might just be temporary for you." Taylor's expression shifted slightly. "We're not a contract couple, Miss Rhiannon," he said seriously. "There's no expiration date on our marriage." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I meant it when I said this lasts until the day I take my last breath." The marriage registration was a blur. No matter how I smiled for the photos, it felt awkward, forced. But Taylor, he looked devastatingly handsome. "Stop staring." Taylor casually took the IDs from the counter, holding my hand as he did. "You can look at me every day from now on." My heart skipped a beat. His touch lingered, warm and confident. He pulled me close. "Let's go home." "Wait, am I meeting your parents?" I asked, anxiety creeping in. "They're abroad, but we'll meet them when they return." I sighed in relief. "Prepare yourself for a trip to the mainland." "Why?" "To visit my in-laws." My heart raced. "You mean your parents?" Taylor smirked. "I took their precious daughter without their consent. It's time I make it right." "Mr. Taylor." I was touched, my throat tight. No matter his reasons, no matter what came next, he had been nothing but respectful to me. Something Smith had never been. Taylor's mansion was already set up for me. "Make it your own. You can add whatever you like." We went upstairs to the master bedroom, and I froze. The entire 3rd floor was ours. a massive walk-in closet, a private study, even a luxurious bathroom just for me. The closet was filled with high-end designer bags, some worth millions. Taylor must have spent a fortune. I wasn't sure what you'd like, so I picked a few I thought you'd love. Let me know if you'd rather pick something yourself. Mr. Taylor, you really didn't have to. I was speechless. Smith had never spent like this on me. Taylor smiled, brushing my hair back gently. Get ready in something nice. We're going out tonight. That evening was unforgettable. On the cruise ship in Victoria, California, fireworks exploded over the water. Inside the grand dining room, it was just Taylor and me. The atmosphere was intoxicating. The food, the wine, everything was perfect. But nothing compared to the way Taylor made me feel. At the end of the night, we retired to the master suite. There were 2 rooms, one for each of us. Taylor kissed me gently on the forehead before leaving. Good night, Miss Rhiannon. I lay in bed, surrounded by the dim glow of the room. How could a man like Taylor be so perfect? Was he just a skilled lover, or was there more? Was there something he wasn't telling me? The questions swirled in my mind, but I had no answers. Taylor hired Henry International's top lawyer to help me terminate my contract. But unlike he expected, I didn't join his company. Instead, I decided to open my own studio with Sister Lucy's help. I wasn't going to ride on his coattails or let our work be entangled if we ever went separate ways. Meanwhile, Linnelly, with Smith's help, had secured the second leading role in a film with director Henry. But when I auditioned for the role of the villainess, director Henry was unimpressed at first. Yet, halfway through my performance, something shifted. He sat up, leaned forward, and when I finished, I had the role. The next day, at the script reading, Linnelly's jealousy was palpable. But no one expected director Henry to adjust the script, increasing my screen time and slashing Linnelly's. Her face darkened, but what happened next was even more shocking. Smith appeared on set, furious. Stop everything. I was mid-stunt, suspended in the air, 10 floors high, when suddenly, everything came to a halt. Linnelly was crying. Director Henry was fuming. And there I was, forgotten, still hanging in the air. What will happen next? The tension is thick, and I'm not sure how much longer I can keep up with this whirlwind life. Director Henry, I have only one demand for today. If Linnelly is in this crew, then there won't be any place for Rhiannon. But Rhiannon passed the audition. She's very talented and perfect for this role. I can't just replace her. If Director Henry insists on not changing the cast, then we might as well stop the production. We can resume filming once Rhiannon is replaced. The financial loss from halting production for a day is huge. Smith's move is obviously a tactic to force Director Henry into a compromise. Smith took a few steps, then suddenly stopped. He turned toward me, hanging mid-air. Director Henry, how about this? We each take a step back. If Rhiannon can hang in the air for a whole day, then let bygones be bygones. You can change whatever you want after that. What do you say? That's impossible. Not even our martial arts instructor could handle it. Then there's nothing to discuss. Smith laughed coldly. Director Henry, why not ask Rhiannon? Maybe she'll agree. I could hear Director Henry's voice in the earpiece, clear and firm. But it didn't affect me at all. Smith knows I have a slight fear of heights. Normally I can bear it for a short time during filming. But the idea of hanging for a whole day, Smith knows I can't handle it. This situation arose because of me, and I really do want this role. I was eager to work with Director Henry. I agree. Rhiannon. It's okay, Director. Work comes first. That's what my teacher always told me in film school. We shouldn't stop production because of me. Rhiannon, I had my doubts about you before. But you're a good actor, a good girl. By the 3rd hour, I felt incredibly sick. Since joining the crew, I'd been controlling my weight strictly, only eating a slice of whole wheat bread and half a cup of milk for breakfast. Now, hanging in the air, I felt dizzy, sweat pouring from me, and I don't even know how many times my costume had soaked through. I asked to go to the restroom, but Smith flatly turned me down. Rhiannon, if you come back to my side, I'll forgive everything that's happened. I weakly shook my head. Smith laughed with anger. Fine, keep suffering then. Your stubbornness will be the end of you. He stood up and walked to the rest area. Lanelli followed smugly. I started hearing a constant buzzing in my ears, sharp and painful. My head felt like it was splitting. Then, everything in front of me blurred into white light, and I lost consciousness. In the hospital. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. I was changed into soft pajamas, an IV in my hand. The familiar smell of disinfectant filled the air, but there was also the cool scent of sandalwood. I looked around and, sure enough, saw Taylor sleeping on the couch. Outside the window, it was already dark. An entire day had passed. I tried to sit up, but the small movement woke Taylor. He instantly jumped up and came to my side. Warm fingers brushed my forehead. Taylor's voice was husky from sleep. Awake? How are you feeling? Thirsty? Want something to eat? I want water. Just a second. I'll get it. Taylor quickly brought me a cup of warm honey water. He helped me drink most of it, then gently helped me back into bed. Mr. Taylor, about the film crew. I still didn't know what was happening. Smith is relentless. He's not a problem right now. Taylor tucked me in. Rhiannon, even though our marriage isn't public, you're still my wife. He glanced at me, exhaustion in his eyes. Do you really think I could stand by while you're being bullied? I lowered my gaze. I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble. For a man like Taylor, even his pet dog can't be mistreated. And I'm his lawful wife. Just rest now. No need to rush back to the set. Okay. He checked his watch. I have an urgent trip abroad. The nanny will take care of you. Go ahead. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine after a couple of days' rest. Taylor tucked me in and kissed me. I'll be back in 2 days. Don't take everything on yourself. Reach out to me if you need anything. I understand. Taylor didn't say anything else, and his secretary soon entered. He tidied up the computer and documents on the table, and they left together. Taylor looked exhausted. He must have learned about my situation while working, which is why he rushed here to take care of me. I thought about it and felt guilty and regretful. I didn't want to cause him any trouble. But in the end, I added to his burdens. Now it's late, and he's rushing for a red-eye flight. I couldn't help but feel guilty. But still, he's fulfilling his responsibilities as a husband. And me, what have I done for him? On the day Taylor returned. The day Taylor came back from his trip, I had just finished filming. I shot a climax scene where I seduced and assassinated the biggest antagonist in the series, all while drunk. When the call came, I didn't even have time to remove my makeup, just wrapped my coat and rushed out. My face was still covered in extravagant makeup, and I reeked of alcohol. As soon as the car door opened, Taylor frowned. How much have you had to drink? For filming. Maybe a bit too much. I was still a bit unsteady when I got into the car. Taylor reached out and steadied me. We're going home first. He told the driver, drive slower. Still, the light bumps made me uncomfortable. Taylor pulled me into his embrace, my makeup rubbing against his shirt. Mr. Taylor, I think I've dirtied your clothes. The dim evening light created a hazy atmosphere in the car. Taylor brushed the curls from my face. What do you call me? Mr. Taylor. Rhiannon, think carefully about what you should really call me. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe it was his voice, but I snuggled into his arms, closed my eyes, and almost whispered, husband. Taylor leaned down to kiss me. Unlike before, where his kisses were light, this time it deepened, making me melt into him. Later that night, Taylor didn't go to another room. After taking a bath, I felt nervous. I pulled up the quilt, wrapping myself tightly. But in the dark, my eyes were wide open and my fists clenched. I didn't know what I was nervous about. When Taylor came out of the bathroom, he stood by the window. "Aren't you afraid of suffocating yourself?" He pulled back the blanket. I nervously shut my eyes, my lashes trembling. I couldn't even look at him. "Jingwei." Taylor didn't move. "If you're not ready yet, we can wait a little longer." "Taylor." I opened my eyes and looked at him. "Have you ever liked someone before?" "I have," Taylor replied without hesitation. As expected, I wasn't wrong in my thinking. Just like I have a past I prefer not to revisit, Taylor, too, must have his own untold stories. With his background, experience, and age, how could his emotional life be any different? Yet, could someone like him truly experience unrequited love? "But those are all things of the past," Taylor said quietly. "Do you not like her anymore?" Taylor didn't respond. Instead, he bent over to kiss me again. "Do you really want me to like someone else?" I shook my head hastily. "No, I was just thinking, if there's someone you like, maybe it's better if I don't interfere in your life too much. But you are already my wife." His lips brushed against my earlobe. "Unless you don't want to bear the responsibilities and duties of a wife." "I didn't." "Rhiannon." "Yes? Close your eyes." "Oh." I obeyed, my heart racing. His hand settled on my waist, and his voice dropped. "If you feel uncomfortable, tell me." I always thought Taylor placed his career above all else, that he was too focused on work to indulge in anything frivolous. I never imagined he'd be so passionate. The same man known for his restraint in public could so easily abandon himself in private. "Taylor, we still have 2 scenes to shoot tomorrow," I said, worn out. But he seemed to have no intention of stopping. "You only think about work. You don't care about me?" Taylor's voice was low, almost mocking. I shuddered as his movements grew firmer, my body betraying me with a soft groan. "Taylor, what do you call me?" Before I could finish, his sudden force broke my words into a breathless whisper. "Husband." "Good. Say it again." "Husband." "Good. Say it again." His kiss deepened, his hand wiping away the tears I didn't even realize had fallen. He pulled me into a kiss so tender, yet full of undeniable intent. "From now on, call me this way, remember?" I've remembered it. With Smith's departure, everything at the filming set seemed to fall into place. Lanelli's acting was so awful that the director nearly cut her secondary role in half, while my supporting character nearly stole the show. The moment the movie wrapped up, Taylor and I headed back to the mainland. My parents, worried about my decision to marry in Westbury, quickly warmed to Taylor once they met him. Especially my mother. She didn't stop talking about how outstanding her son-in-law was, much to my amusement. Taylor, always polite and composed, allowed her to dote on him without any complaint. When we got back to Westbury, I returned to night filming, and director Henry began singing my praises. My reputation grew, and soon I was offered more roles than I could handle. As director Henry's movie hit theaters, I had already completed a TV series and released 2 singles. The response to my role was overwhelming. My portrayal of a complex, righteous, yet villainous character won accolades from both critics and fans. Privately, director Henry told me I had a good chance at the Best Actress award. And just when things seemed to be on the up, something unexpected happened. I fainted during a recording and was rushed to the hospital. It turned out I was pregnant, just 6 weeks along. My long-term dieting had taken a toll on my body, and low blood sugar led to my fainting spell. But when the news hit, the first question that sprang to my mind was, what would Taylor think? Did he want this child? After all, he had once loved another woman. We had never discussed children before our marriage, and now I felt a wave of unease. Yet there was something else, something I couldn't quite put my finger on, lingering in the back of my mind. A faint hope. Taylor's expression darkened when he entered the hospital room. My heart sank. "Rhiannon." He sat beside me, his gaze stern. Didn't you notice your period was late? I've always had an irregular cycle. I didn't think much of it. I lowered my head. I'm sorry. I must have caused you more trouble. Sister Lucy had already informed Taylor, and despite being in a meeting, he had rushed over without a second thought, ignoring all professional decorum. He had even run 3 red lights. He never acted so impulsively. You wouldn't listen when I told you not to diet. I had no choice. The camera adds 10 pounds. I told Lucy we'd put everything on hold for now. No, Taylor. We agreed. I won't quit. I want to keep working. It's not about quitting, but you need to rest. After the baby is born and you recover, we'll figure out the rest. But do you want the baby? His voice softened, but his gaze remained firm. Why would you think I wouldn't want our child? My heart twisted. I've been thinking, if there was no baby, you could leave me at any time. But with a child, I trailed off, uncertain how to voice the rest of my fears. Taylor's face remained unreadable. She's already back. Huh? I blinked, my mind reeling. The woman I loved? She's already back. My heart pounded in my chest. Did that mean I was just the consolation prize? You knew about her all along, didn't you? Taylor met my eyes, and for the first time I saw vulnerability in him. I loved her, but that was in the past. What I feel for you is different. As I entered my 3rd trimester, Taylor and I received more public attention than ever. On the night I won my first Best Actress award, everything seemed to fall into place. But there was something unexpected. Smith was seated in the front row. Back then, he had barely acknowledged me. Now his gaze was locked on mine. After the award ceremony, during my interview, I revealed that I was pregnant. I'm in the early stages, I said softly, my hand resting on my belly. And my husband is a bit worried about me working while pregnant. The moment the words left my lips, I saw Smith's face change. His eyes filled with tears as he stood up, but I didn't look at him. Taylor was waiting for me. I handed my trophy to my assistant and rushed toward Taylor without a second thought. Rhiannon, wait. His voice stopped me in my tracks. His brow was furrowed, and I could see the worry in his eyes. He reached me in seconds and pulled me into his arms. Didn't the doctor tell you not to run? But I missed you, I whispered, kissing him lightly. Are you tired? He asked, his voice softening. Very. I just want to go home. Then let's go. As we turned to leave, I caught sight of Smith's stunned face. And his mother, Lady Smith, was beyond shocked. Taylor, you're with her? Lady Smith's voice trembled. Taylor, his arm around me, didn't even flinch. He simply nodded. Yes, I am. Lady Smith's eyes widened, her expression unreadable, but I wasn't looking at her. All I could see was Taylor, and all I wanted was to go home, where he was. The once familiar world of Smith was now far behind me, as I stepped into a future that was unpredictable, full of love and uncertainty.